Oh, yes. Well, it is a Wednesday around the world, and I'm Dave Rothenberg, and this is Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. And if you're just stumbling on this live YouTube show Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern, Sunday after the Giants, if they play at 1, we go at 7:30. They play at 4, we go at 7:30. They play at night. Then we adjust and we go late night. But we have a very busy show today. We'll recap we call them locks of the week as far as our picks are concerned. We might have to adjust the name, being the result is not great through 3 weeks. We will be joined by Pat Leonard, New York Daily News, Giants reporter. He's actually, I believe it. He'll join us in a few minutes out at Giants, the facility today. So he'll join us from there and give us the latest on what's going on. Of course, the big Jackson Dart news. We'll certainly get to that in just a moment. We'll do fantasy waiver wire pickups, guys that you need to add to your team to better your team. And of course, we'll do an edition of Stump Rothenberg today as well, which means if you have a question, throw it my way. And at some point in the next hour, we'll get to it. We'll bring the guys on, Nico and Steve, and they'll get the questions, comments. You're welcome. You have to subscribe to this YouTube event. I didn't want to call it a show. It's an event is what it is. You like it, you subscribe to it, and now it becomes bigger and better, and we have a giveaway, and you can hear all about that. I believe I was told 826 subscribers on YouTube. When we get to 1,000, you're going to get a mini Giants helmet, autographed and personalized by yours truly, and we'll send it directly to you. And you say, well, if I'm, the 995th subscriber, do I have the same chance as anybody else? It's going to be randomly generated, and you have as good a chance as any of the first 826 people. So do that, and we will give that away immediately upon reaching 1,000 subscribers. So we sat here, and I was talking to one of my producers, Steve, before the show, and he said, do you remember that the first show we did, which I guess is going to be 4 weeks ago on Friday, before week 1, when there was optimism in the air and there was a belief that this organization could have figured something out possibly, but we did that show. And one of the first questions we asked is, when is Jackson Dart going to take the reins as far as being the starting quarterback and be the Giants starter? Well, you didn't have to wait for long, because we are now approaching week 4, and here we are. It's Jackson Dart. And Pat will bring on Pat Leonard for the Daily News, and he has his big podcast, Talking Ball with Pat Leonard. And we'll talk to him and ask him these questions and get his take on Dart and all things New York Giants. And that is, like, is this a desperation move? Is this the last move that the Shane Dable contingent can make with the hopes that they can cling on to their jobs? Because how can you feel good about anything that the Giants are putting on the field right now? Week 1 was a disaster. Week 2 was better, but ended up being a disaster. And week 3, I think the defense played a bit better, but that's against a hemorrhaging Chiefs offense. And your offense looked like it was like in the 1930s. Like, it looked like they were just figuring out how the forward pass works on Sunday night. So it did not go well. It has not gone well. They're 0-3. You look at the schedule, there's not a lot of wins on this schedule. So and you use the phrase, save this Giants brass. I don't know that there's a lot that they can do other than go up their sleeve and take out the ace, and that's Jackson Dart. Now, if Jackson Dart plays great and they win, this regime will be here for quite some time. If Jackson Dart plays great and they don't win, I don't know. I think there has to be, John Mara said after last season, he needs wins. Well, they're 0-3, and now they have one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the AFC coming to pay a visit this week. And then it's a soft landing spot in the Saints. And then, like we've mentioned a million times, it's Eagles, Broncos, Eagles. The second 2 on the road at Denver, at Philadelphia, and then it's the Niners at Giant Stadium. So it's not a soft landing spot. They play the Patriots in the second half of the season. They play the Raiders in the second half of the season. But again, I haven't looked at it, but I guarantee if you looked at the spreads for every single game, week by week by week, maybe the Giants are favored in 2 games. So last year was brutal. And this year, through 3 games, it picks exactly up where they left off. But the whole Jackson Dart thing, I think, is interesting. We said after the game on Sunday and on Monday's show, why I'm not falling for it again. I'm not going to feign excitement and, we're back and we're going to find a way to compete with the Chargers. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. But I think maybe the brass realized, well, how can we get the fan base to not turn on us, and how could they get us to not turn on them? Was to throw us the Jackson Dart bone. And this is the kid you wanted. You watched him in preseason. He looked phenomenal. And now you're going to get to watch him, during the course of the actual body of the season. And let's see what he's able to do. So all of the Shane stinks, Dable stinks, Mara stinks, the organization's a dumpster fire and a disaster, at least for a moment, that goes to the wayside because you have the idea of now there's hope again. And that's what they've given you. Now, I don't know that it's going to work. We don't know. Nobody knows. What I do know is that Brian Dable, he has to, I'll get into this with Pat in a couple minutes, has to be more creative on Sunday against the Chargers than they were on Sunday night against the Chiefs. Like that offensive vision on Sunday night against the Chiefs, and we're told that Brian Dable is a guru. I mean, it was wild to watch how ineffective. They didn't even get the best offensive player on the team involved. Not a screen, not a halfback option throw to Malik Neighbors, not an end around, nothing. Like you didn't think it was necessary to get the ball in the hands of the best weapon that you actually have on offense. It is absolutely shocking to me. Shocking. All right, so now you've stumbled upon this show and you've loved the first, 7 minutes. And Pat Leonard's going to join us from out at the Giants facility in just a moment or two. But I can let you know how you can get involved. You can send your questions, send your comments, like us, subscribe to us. Also, you can listen to us on Spotify, which is a new venture that we've just started. Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. All our other socials, right? Instagram, TikTok, they're all DR Giants Obsession. Again, that's DR Giants Obsession for Instagram and TikTok. And Twitter, DRNYGO. So that's all encompassing. Like I told you, when we reach 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, the Mini Giants helmet gets signed and sent to your home. One person will receive that. So here we are again. It's the hope. And that's hope is a great thing. And hope is an awful thing as well. And I just kind of feel like that's where we are with this team right now. Is what more if the Jackson Dart, for lack of a better term, experiment doesn't somehow work quickly, how quickly the reins can just completely fall apart, right? Because what else is there? I'm excited about Abdul Carter as well, but I mean, through 3 games, he has not looked sensational. Burns is a stud. Thibodeau looks good, but they can't move the football. The offensive line is not very good. Andrew Thomas is clearly not at 100% health yet. You have Neighbors. You're excited by Scadaboo. And guys, this is the big play. This is the big play. This is, what do we have with this kid? And you almost feel, and we've talked about this a lot on my radio show about the Jets. So the Jets bring in Justin Fields, and they're trying to save Justin Fields, right? And he has one weapon in Garrett Wilson. And if you want to say Breece Hall as well, fine. But for the most part, he has one weapon. Well, if you're trying to make your quarterback the best version of who he can possibly be, wouldn't you do more than just have one weapon for them to throw to or get the ball into those hands? Well, the Giants have the same. And so the Giants have the same one stud receiver. And I actually believe that Neighbors is better than Garrett Wilson. I like Wilson. I think Neighbors is a different level of special. But Breece Hall at this point, you'd say, is better than Scadaboo. So it's very similar in what these two teams match up with. And you're throwing your hopefully future franchise quarterback to the Wolves and saying, all right, you've watched 3 games. You had a nice preseason against guys who maybe not in the league anymore. Let us know how it turns out. It's got the potential to be great. It also has the potential to be, I don't know that I want to say a disaster, but it has the potential to not work right away. All right. So with that being said, so Pat's still not there. And I blame Nico for that. Because Nico, pop on for a moment, would you? You told me that you were in touch with Pat. And you told me that this was going to be a non-issue. I come in, I sit down, my headphones aren't working. We remedy that. And now I'm about ready to go to Pat. And you text me, no, Pat's still not here. So what's happening?
So this actually isn't controlled by me. This is controlled by another person in this room.
Steve screwed up. Did you?
Just waiting for him.
Be frank.
I emailed him.
Did you? So what's happening? Do I, as I'm live on the air, have to send him a note?
I mean, that would be great. He responded like 20 minutes after saying, yeah. And I just emailed him again saying, hey, can you get on now?
So here's my thought. And this is the beauty of live television. Here's my thought. All the Giants beat reporters are at the facility. You know, Dable was addressing the media today. I don't know if there's a chance that things got pushed back, that he's still ensconced in that, or, you know, maybe they opened up media availability that he's, you know, talking to particulars within the Giants, which would stink if we don't have him at the moment. However, Steve, because I you know me, I'm a glass half full kind of guy. Maybe he's going to come on in just a moment
with some juice,
and he's going to have
Jackson Dart with him.
I wasn't thinking that, Nico, but he's gonna have.
I like the idea.
That's great. And Jack, by the way, as a kind of a plea, Jackson Dart always welcome on the show. Like,
absolutely.
If he said, Dave, I can only do 2:30 on a Friday, I don't know if I have to concur with you guys. I'm of the mindset we adjust the show, to move it when he could make it. But I'm thinking maybe because he hasn't joined us as of yet, and he's a few minutes late, maybe he's going to have some information for us when he joins. Don't you think that's a real possibility?
He's definitely has some juice.
Some fresh off the press news from Pat Leonard.
Yeah,
that's my hope. So I sent him a text. We wait on him.
Wait a minute.
What?
We have someone.
We have someone?
We have.
Oh, look at this.
Someone
we have
just entered.
Pat Leonard, or someone who just has stumbled upon
random person.
Pat Leonard is here.
Bring on the random. Let's go. Oh, there he is.
Dave, what's going on?
Pat Leonard, how are you from the Daily News? You're a big star. Thanks for taking a few minutes out, man.
No way, man. That's you. Thanks for having me. I'm getting to the car here so I can have a little bit more quiet as the Giants blast some music at practice here.
So we see behind you, and you're at the Giants facility, and we're very excited to have you. Now, I want to get into your podcast and certainly want to give it the love and admiration that it respects. We'll get there in a few moments. You can certainly take the time to discuss it. I mean, Dable just addressed the media moments ago, right?
He did.
Give us the cliff notes of what he said today about Jackson Dart.
Yeah, so he said that it was his decision, the coach's decision, and only his decision. I asked him if that meant that there might have been disagreement or different viewpoints in the conversation with ownership and the GM, but that ultimately everyone is trusting the coach's call. He said, yes, that is accurate. So I think what we can parse by listening to the details of what Dable told us today, it's that the organization deliberated, is it too early? Do we wait? Is it good to play him against the Chargers? And the coach is putting it on himself. And I think that is, I believe, based on my reporting, that's accurate in the sense of Dable's been trying to do this since week 1. I mean, he wouldn't commit to Russell Wilson after one game, Dave. They signed Russell Wilson in free agency, handed him the starting job, and yet after one loss where they score 6 points, the head coach is declining to endorse him as his starter for week 2.
Pat,
so what does that tell you?
Why did they sign a guy that after 1 week there was discussion within the organization that we might not start him in week 2? I mean, someone has to take accountability for that.
Right. So the process was, remember, they signed Jameis Winston technically first. They didn't know how the draft was going to go. So after their first options of Stafford, Aaron Rodgers, they even talked to Joe Flacco. They wanted to talk to Mason Rudolph. They wanted to trade up for Cam Ward. So technically you could say 3 clearly better options did not happen because one team wouldn't make a trade in the Titans and the other 2 players, Stafford and Rodgers, didn't want to play here. So then you go to Wilson. Wilson is Joe Shane's pick, and Dable certainly was a part of that. But they signed Jameis just in case they don't get the quarterback they want to draft. Dable and Shane both knew they had to draft a quarterback, and they were trying to address both the veteran and the rookie aspect, the present and the future. Dable shifted the scouting process that was so centered on Shedeur Sanders to Jackson Dart. he was the primary reason why they drafted Jackson Dart, the coach. And so once they got into training camp and you saw Dart taking a ton of reps behind Wilson and Winston and DeVito relegated to mop-up duty, like they barely got more snaps than you or I did, Dave. At that point, you can see that he's greasing the skids for this to happen early in the season if Wilson doesn't perform. And so I say all of that to set up. It's always been obvious Dable wanted to get this kid in as soon as he could because he believed that much in him. Remember, the reason these two guys have these jobs with the Giants is because of what happened in Buffalo. They drafted and they played early Josh Allen for the Bills. And even though it wasn't perfect, quote unquote, that's the experience they have of having success in the NFL. So that's how we land here. And now we have a situation where with Daniel Jones, and sorry for being long-winded here.
No, it's okay.
But
good information.
With Daniel Jones' success in Indianapolis, Brian Daboll now, the only thing that can save him, because he's not finding a way as a coach to win them games on the margins, right, on the sideline, he needs to demonstrate that Josh Allen was not some one-off unicorn talent, which is what he looks like. But Daboll has this reputation as a quarterback whisperer, but outside of Josh Allen, the resume is not there. So if he's going to prove to John Mara that he still deserves to be this coach, the only way he can do it now is by putting Jackson Dart in the game and making him look like, he doesn't have to be Josh Allen 2.0, but to be the Giants version of that.
So correct me if you think I'm wrong, and maybe I am. This feels to me like this is not a very good team yet again. It's the same offensive line somehow, which is really remarkable. They don't have a ton of weapons. The coaching staff probably feels led by Daboll like this is a Hail Mary. Like what do I what are my other plays that I can come out and say, all right, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. This feels like this is the last play, Pat. And if this doesn't work, he kind of knows he's dead man walking, but why not get this kid as much reps as they can get? And let's see what the final 14 games of the season brings us. Is that a fair assessment or no?
Yeah, no, I think it is the final ripcord, the break glass emergency. Like if you're Brian Daboll, if you're going to this and it doesn't work, that's it. And that's why. So the frustrating part of his press conference just now with us, he would not get into any detail of why he made the decision. So in other words, fans over the last 24 hours have been wondering, okay, how much of it is they don't think Russ is any good? How much of it is just they can't get a win and the coach is trying to protect his job? And how much of it is just how much confidence they have in Dart in general? Daboll would not address any of that. But I believe that it wasn't just, hey, we think Dart gives us a better chance. It was them accurately, and I'll give them credit for one thing, Dave. They accurately realize that the Dallas Cowboys offensive game was a mirage. They accurately understand that despite Russell Wilson having a career day that day, they watch Caleb Williams suddenly look like an NFL quarterback out of nowhere against the same defense. And they say, you know what? If we're properly evaluating this, we understand that the 15 total points we scored in those two games is not the anomaly. The 37 points in Dallas is. It's a panic move, though. I mean, it's, even if you have confidence in Dart, even if you're frustrated with Russell Wilson, it's a panic move, Dave. And I think if they had just won that Dallas game, not only will we not be having this Dart conversation this week, we wouldn't have had it for, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 more weeks at least, right? But it's the record. That's why Dart's in this early. It's all those other factors, but it's the record and it's the job security.
Well, what did John Mara say when he addressed the media last year? I want to see wins, right? It wasn't I want to see competitive losses against Dallas or, a decent defensive effort against Washington. I need to see wins. And Pat, listen, you're around this team every single day. You know better than me. They're 1-14 in their last 15 games. They're 3-17 in their last 20 games. And not only is the record an unmitigated embarrassment, but the one win in the last 15 games, you'd say actually hurt them and didn't even help them. Because if they had lost that game, we'd be talking about Cam Ward. We talked about this on my radio show this morning. And it doesn't make any sense. Like if you wanted Daboll and Shane back and you're John Mara, that's your decision. Okay. But wouldn't you tell them last year before the Colts game, you love Cam Ward? I don't care if you win this game or not. In fact, if you need to lose this game, that makes sense. But if that's the quarterback, they won that game and then tried to trade for him. Like, can you make it make any sense, or is it as puzzling and mind-boggling as it is for you as it is for me?
Yeah, no, it is puzzling. I think what you have to accept is that even though they are very good at pumping their narrative and, at times propaganda out through the national media, the Giants do not have the airtight blueprint and plan that you would hope as a fan that they have. They have been consistently adjusting and recalibrating based on failed attempts, whether it's player acquisition, whether it's losing too many games, whatever it is. The Giants have been flying by the seat of their pants. It started with after that playoff berth and playoff win in 2022. They forgot, not that they forgot, they told themselves we're way ahead now of where we thought we would be. That, Dave, I can't even describe. And I know, listen, I've heard you say this too. So I know you know exactly what I'm about to say, but it's like this organization, this is why it's not just the coach and not just the GM. This is the organizational problem here in New York with the Maras and the Tishes. They do not know how to evaluate themselves. They can't stop themselves from overreaching and reaching conclusions preemptively. And I always tell this story, but it's true. This is not just me painting a metaphorical picture. This is actually a real thing that has happened here before. This team, like, let's say you're in the draft room and you put the depth chart up on the whiteboard, right? And let's say you say, okay, going into this draft of free agency, we need to fill our cornerback 2 spot for next season. It needs to improve. When the Giants add that next corner, they put the magnet or they write the name up there and they put a green check mark and they're like, all right, we fixed that. That doesn't mean you fixed it. That means you added a player to the competition. They do that and then they move on to the next position. Like Theo Johnson's a good example of tight end. Is he a young, promising physical specimen who might be able to give you something? Yes. Can you just say we fixed tight end and we don't have to address it now? No. But that's where they always get in their own way. And it happens with micro decisions like a tight end position. And it happens with macro positions like who they hire and fire.
It's really remarkable, and it's very difficult to be a fan of this team. And I would imagine as such to cover the team as well. Now, the offensive game plan on Sunday night was mind-boggling to me. You have, I don't care what anybody says, Malik Neighbors is a star, and I didn't think he was at the level of a Jamar Chase or a Justin Jefferson. I think maybe I've adjusted my opinion. He's an absolute star, and I think it's almost criminal that until the fourth quarter, the ball did not get into his hands. I get it that Spagnuolo is very bright. There's one thing you want to take away on this Giants offense, and you're going to play, over the top coverage. I get it. There has to be a way you can figure out to get the ball into the hands of a playmaker. An end around, a screen with blockers in front, something. I mean, so it's kind of a two-part question, Pat. A, how does that happen? B, do you think they adjust and are smarter moving forward with the future, hopefully franchise quarterback starting on Sunday in Jackson Dart?
I think that's a great point by you. I think you're hitting the nail on the head about this opens the door or reminds you why this is not just, it's hard to have confidence just because they're changing the QB that everything's going to be fixed. There's many reasons, but the one is what you just hit on. Why was the coaching staff on offense not prepared to, number one, coming out, get him the ball at all? And then number two, when you see how Spagnuolo is defending them, they didn't have a way to get Neighbors across the field more into windows of the zone. To your point, if they're forcing you to run the ball, get the ball in his hands in the backfield, jet sweeps, whatever it is. I'm actually doing a story for the Daily News on exactly this because I think you're hitting it. Like, it's such a great point. Outside of Dart becoming the quarterback here, the number one story here, and yeah, it's the job security, is what the heck was that with Malik on Sunday night against the Kansas City Chiefs? And how the heck can anyone have confidence in Daboll and Kafka, whoever the quarterback is, when they can't get the top receiver on their team and one of the best receivers in the league the ball? Dave, you and I both know that like this is something I've been hammering. Like I firmly believe Jameis Winston right now at this point in his career is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I agree.
You and I both know, even if Jameis threw 2 picks in that game too, just like Russell Wilson, there is no way on God's green earth he would have gone even 5 plays without throwing the ball to Malik against the Chiefs, let alone 3 freaking quarters until he gets his first catch. So obviously Jameis not in the picture. It's Jackson Dart now. How about this for concerning? Malik's not practicing today. He's on the field. They're keeping him off the field today. They didn't say exactly why yet. Maybe it's a rest day. Maybe it's his back. He's taken all his reps with Russell Wilson, Dave. So now the first practice that Jackson has of 3 to prepare for the Chargers, Malik's not running routes and catching passes for him. I mean, this is just, you know,
Yeah,
it's out of control. He basically ran go routes and hitches in that game. And you saw the result.
So you talk about, I didn't even know that Malik didn't practice, but isn't that kind of a thing with him though? Like they're very cautious with him and will give him, rest days and stuff. That's what I've heard. So obviously it's kind of great news. Secondarily, I think, outside of maybe Neighbors and Dart now, the most important piece of this offense was Andrew Thomas, who looked good in his pitch count on Sunday. Couple things. A, I didn't know that was going to happen. B, would I now assume he came out of this well and is going to be healthier this coming Sunday? Because if he doesn't play and protect the blind side of Jackson Dart, then it could be a disaster against San Diego or the LA Chargers, I should say.
Right. No, I prefer when you call him San Diego. Yeah, Thomas, this is part of the reason, from my vantage point, this is part of the reason why even the people who disagreed or thought they should wait on Dart acquiesced at a certain point here, was because you couldn't put Jackson on the field with Marcus Bowe as their starting left tackle. The guy gave up anywhere between 7 and 9 pressures last game against Kansas City, depending on which site you're using, Next Gen or PFF. And he's a 5th-round rookie. He's not supposed to be their starting left tackle, so I don't even put it on the kid. You have Joe Shane's James Hudson signing. Now you can't play that guy. You can't trust him. So the good news here is that Dart is in part because Andrew Thomas played 28 snaps on offense and looked good. And Brian Daboll, now this is what the coach has said. He said twice now, Monday and Wednesday, that Thomas came out well out of the game physically. So you would imagine that means he's going to play more in this game. I don't know how much more. I don't know if that means a full game. I would be surprised if it was a full game, Dave, only because after the game, Thomas said, I felt good. And then somebody said, did you feel good enough that even though you had the snap count limit, that you felt like, oh, you know what? If I had to play this full game, I could. And he said, well, I could say that, but he said the whole point here is that we're making sure we're limiting my reps to a certain level so that I don't have a setback. And I just hate hearing that word from a guy after he played. And he's telling me he's good, but he's telling me we're still guarding against a setback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just makes you concerned. They've obviously had him on a plan. He's had himself on a plan. And my guess is they'll try to see if he can go closer to the full game, but that it'll be dangerous to do so, and they'll probably limit him. Just, I don't know, maybe, this is a total guess, but maybe they go to 40 snaps instead of closer to 30,
At the end of the day, when we close the book on this game Sunday, and I know it's a total conjecture and guess really at this point, what do you think happens with Jackson Dart? You think we game ends, forget about even the final score, and we're like, you know what, I can see it? Or do you think it's like, because if they lose and he looks awful, I mean, the heat and I know it's his first start, and I remember Eli Manning back in the day and how brutal he was, and he had a better offensive line and better weapons around him than Jackson Dart does. But this is a disaster right now. And if he doesn't come out of this game with some promise, I think the fan base will have their ire really up. What's your best guess as we're a couple days away from this one?
Yeah, so I think Dart's a gamer. I think he's a good player. I think you're going to see some good and some bad, mainly because he hasn't played against a game plan specific to him. And now it's Jesse Minter dialing up pressures and one of the best scoring defense in the league. I think they're 4th in scoring defense, the Chargers. They only allow 16.7 points per game. One thing I'm confident about is that, and as you've seen, Daboll was doing it early, even with Russ as the starter. I think their red zone offense will be better with Dart in the game. I think he gives them more options. I believe his mobility, his toughness, and just the amount of calls that you can make with him in the game versus Russ because of his skill set.
Mhm.
I think if they can get the ball down there, they can run the ball. You got Scattaboo, you got him, you got his arm, all that kind of thing. I think they'll score more down there. Will they get down there enough is the question, right? How will he handle protection issues if the Chargers defensive line is getting to him? Also, this is something I'm not going to say it fully, but we all remember Daniel Jones. He didn't know when to slide. Jackson Dart, the most important thing in this game for him is to live to see the next play. Even if you use your legs, get down, slide, get the yards, live to see another one. Do not lower your shoulder. Don't try to take a guy on like you did in the open field in the preseason. I don't think they're going to win the game. I don't think they can win the game. I think they're at such a coaching deficit as well as a talent deficit. And I think the Chargers receiving core is really going to give them a lot of problems on the other side. I think Dart's going to show enough promise that the fans are going to say, why wasn't this guy in the whole time? But I think the real question, Dave, is after this game, let's say they're 0-4 going to New Orleans. This first game is not like, oh, win or else or you're fired game.
Yeah, next
But
week.
if they go down to if they go down to New Orleans and lose, and he looks bad 2 weeks in a row, and they lose to Spencer Rattler and the Saints, and Kellen Moore gets his first win, I mean, then all bets are off. Last thing I'll say on that is what we'll find next. Let's say Dart shows promise, but it's not perfect and they don't win and the coach eventually loses his job. The interesting part will be, okay, does Dart show enough promise that then Shane buys more time to hire the next coach? Or do the Giants recognize that this needs to all be blown up?
So it's funny because I talked to you know Jordan Renan, and I don't think he can hold a candle to you. Like I'm now established the fact that you're much better than him after our conversation today. But I like Jordan; he's a friend. But I will say this: I asked him the other day, Shane Dable tied at the hip, and he's because he's told me for a long, they're not tied at the hip. They're not tied at the hip. Like Dable's in very tenuous situation, and Shane is not. Like he's probably going to keep his job. And I said, so if we have another 3-14. Or 2-15, what he goes, they'll have to clean house. You agree? Like, does it just come down to how many wins they get, or does it come down to what Jackson Dart looks like?
I think they want to. Listen. Ownership, as you saw from keeping them from 3-14, they don't want to fire either of these guys. But I agree with Jordan that if they don't go completely in the tank, it's trending towards the GM being back and the coach not. I think that's complete lunacy. I also think it's hypocritical because all they sold us, Dave, since their hiring was what? Collaboration, package deal. These guys, they're tied at the hip. They're always communicating. It was always their way of trashing Joe Judge and referring to Dave Gettleman and Joe Judge and blaming them for everything. And now what? You're going to point your finger at one guy and not the other? Well, guess what? That's what happened coming out of last season. I reported this in the early spring. Joe Shane and Brian Daboll, they were working basically as separate entities coming out of last season for several months. The reason was those conversations with John Mara and together about where this team needed to go and where they stood did not leave Brian Daboll feeling like everyone was in his corner, And you heard it in the coming out of the season of John Mara saying, like, I suggested that Brian give up play calling, and then Daboll was like, he didn't suggest that, I said that. He's like, whoa. So that's where we stand. It might come down to that, but it would be hypocritical.
It's really remarkable that this franchise has gotten itself. When did you start covering the Giants? What year?
2016. So this is year 10.
This is really your fault. So the moment you came on, started covering the Giants, it's gone to hell since that moment on.
They're killing careers, including mine, Dave. Come on, we need some wins here.
They're doing a phenomenal job of it. All right, I don't want to rush you off without giving you the opportunity of discussing what you're working on. So I wanted to have you on because you're great and you're there and you have your finger on the pulse of stuff. But tell people what you're working on, how they can consume it, and have at it.
Thank you. Yeah, no. So in addition to my coverage at the New York Daily News of the NFL and the Giants, I'm on YouTube. The handle is PL on NFL. The podcast is Talking Ball with Pat Leonard. We have great guests every week. Would love to have you on sometime, Dave. I love your work. You're so super knowledgeable and rational as well. And
but crazy, like rational, up to a point, and then I lose my mind and I go crazy.
But you need some passion to balance out the rational, and you need some rational to balance out the crazy, right?
I'm your guy.
But yeah, we got guest podcasts, and then I go live on Talking Ball Mondays and Thursday nights, and then post game live really is the bread and butter. Like after the Giants games, after I come out of the locker room, talking to Dable, talking to the players, I file for the Daily News, and then we go live with fans. We're going to start bringing guests onto those as well, and really give the fans a voice who are in the stadium or driving home or at their house watching the team. And I can bring you guys information and analysis direct to you right away, fresh out of the stadium. And usually I think I can tell people a few things in those that they haven't heard anywhere else yet, because I'm just boots on the ground.
That's awesome. Well, listen, is this a new venture you just started this season?
No, we're a couple years into it. But I would say there's finally at least some excitement with Dart in the mix now. So hopefully we can get some more buzz going there.
That's awesome. Well, listen, continued success. I hope it's great. Reach out. I would love to come on at some point, and after a win would be even better, but I don't know how many opportunities I'll have for that. So let me know when you want me. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll catch up down the road. All right.
You got it, Dave. Thank you, man.
All right. There you have it. That is Pat Leonard, of course, from the New York Daily News, who he's got his YouTube show, and he's immediate after the games. And like he said, I mean, it's great to be in the locker room and then take that from the locker room and then just start to, spout the conversation of what he's seen and people he's spoken to. It's wonderful. So wish him success. And he's good. He's entertaining. He's funny. Some of these guys, and actually, I don't think we've had any on this show yet, but some of these beat reporters are so boring and so bland. You talk to him and you're like, oh my God, I can't take it. But not Jordan is excellent, and Pat is excellent, and Gary Myers was excellent, and we've been very fortunate. Oh no, have we been fortunate, or are we just very smart and we know the guys to get and the guys not to get? So big thanks to Pat Leonard, of course. So what do we have coming up today? Because we have a plenty of show to go. So I ask you, and I ask you every single time. It's like when if you go to temple and the rabbi says, "Can you please donate?" Right? Or if they pass around the box at church, as they please don't. So we don't ask for that here. But our version of asking for that is for you to like us and subscribe to us. That's it. We're not asking for money. Now, if you'd like to give money, we're welcome that as well. We'd be happy to take it. I got 2 producers who would love to get money. Executive producer, we love money. But I'm not asking for that. All I'm asking for you to do is press the subscribe button and know what's happening on this YouTube show. That's it. And if you like us, that's great as well. We'll get back into Jackson Dart in just a moment. Questions, you can fire them away. Comments, you can fire them away. We're going to do a little Stump Rothenberg in a few minutes as well. And it's waiver wire day as well. So have at it. Fire away. We are here for you. And then very quickly, we'll recap my picks against the spread so far. I'll say it quietly so far this football season. Nico.
Yes,
how you
Dave.
doing? Hey, what's going on?
Hi, Dave.
What'd you think? You think Pat was good?
I think Pat was great.
Great. Better than Renan?
Better than Renan.
Yeah. Better than Renan.
Better than Renan. I liked the interview. I thought it was great.
Really?
Both sides.
Now,
So you
how much of the, be honest, can I ask for your honest opinion?
Yeah.
How much of it do you think Pat just happens to be very good? And how much of it do you think Rothenberg just puts people at ease and he brings out the very good?
Now you're
that's it.
That's the one. You're looking into my mind. That's the one. I think the questions set up the good answers.
I think you're probably right. So do we have any questions and or comments so far?
Yes, we
during
do.
the live stream.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got?
This is from Tapeworm 2001. What happened to the plan to develop Dart? Outrageous and incompetent.
We don't know. You say that, but it sounds like Brian Dable was desperate after 1 week to get Dart into the mix. So again, we don't have an answer. He says it's all his decision. Is it all his decision? Is Shane involved? Is Mara involved? We don't know. All we know is that they're throwing a kid out there who may not be ready. You may look back in a year from now and be like, I can't believe in week 4 the Giants had the gall to throw Jackson Dart to the Wolves. And you may finish watching the game on Sunday and be like, you know what? We got our quarterback of the future. So we don't know. And everyone that wants, I'm an expert. I was talking to someone earlier today. And it's like, enough of Patrick Mahomes sat a year. This guy started right away. Every guy, Tim Hasselbeck said this to me last week, every single player is unique. Every organization is unique. And you can't compare Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. You just can't. So we look at this as a one of one, and we'll see what happens on Sunday, and we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. And it could be a dumpster fire of epic proportions, or maybe it rejuvenates the team a little bit, and you see a better version of what the Giants are, and they compete and or maybe even win a couple of games.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant on the Jackson Dart thing, but I feel like if they had a plan
see.
for the season, they should have at least stuck by it for a little bit longer before
what was the
throwing him to
plan?
the Wolves.
Was the plan maybe like when things fall off the rails with Russell Wilson, we go to him? What was the plan?
We have a competent enough backup, or I guess third string.
You want to go to
point.
Jameis Winston?
I would.
But how? My question to you would be: how do you make Jameis Winston the third string? Jackson Dart's the backup during games, and now when it's time to make the switch, now you're going to go to the third string and not the kid that was one hit away from being the quarterback anyway?
That was the first mistake. At the beginning of the season, Dart should have been third string, and Jameis should have been.
My question is, why did you sign Russell Wilson at all? When they signed Jameis Winston, you have Winston, whatever quarterback you're going to draft, and now that's your duo. Why did you have to bring Russell Wilson into the mix here? I think there's a pretty good chance Russell Wilson never takes another snap for the New York Giants, ever.
I think that's absolutely
the
true.
lasting memory you will have of Russell Wilson is the first and goal from the 4 when he threw the ball into the tunnel and took a 10-yard penalty. He had a designed quarterback sneak for a guy that can't move and was stopped right at the line of scrimmage, threw an incompletion, and then his coup de grace, his final salvo. All right, now I'm done and I'm out. I'll throw the ball off the upright, and that will be my lasting image of me as a New York Football Giant. I really think there's a chance you never see this guy throw another pass to the Giants.
It would be stupid to put him in again. I think
I agree.
If Dart doesn't work, you have to go to Jameis. You have to try all the options.
All right. So what else do we have? More questions? More comments? What else?
Yeah, we have I don't know. Let's see. Mosley, if the guru can't guru and lacks offensive creativity, why is Russ benched and DeBum still has a job?
It's a good question. Because I think Russ has shown that he's just not it. And the one thing of all the stuff that Pat Leonard said is the Giants are aware and admit that the game against Dallas was not, in fact, Russell Wilson finding his old form. It was Dallas's defense is an abomination, right? I mean, week 1 against Philadelphia, they looked awful. Week 2 against the Giants, they looked awful. And week 3 against the Bears, they looked awful. So it's not, they don't look at it. I think they're right with this. It's not awful against Washington, great and hope against Dallas, awful in week 3. It's more awful week 1, the outlier in week 2. We know he's not great. We know he's not that, but he was good, but he's not good. And week 3 was back to what the norm is. That's kind of my take on this whole thing.
And it wasn't that, it was like disgustingly gross. Like it was
shocking.
It was
shockingly
shockingly gross.
It was to watch the Giants on Sunday night and then to come here and do the post game like we do was jarring. It was horrific and it was nauseating, all wrapped up into one. You got anything else, or we're moving on here?
We're moving on.
All right. Well, thank you. I'll bring you back to make fun of you at some point a little bit later. I don't want to bring you on and then not bring Steve on because I feel like political campaigns, like you're not allowed to have one candidate without bringing the other candidate on. Let's do that for a moment. Let's bring on Steve. Remember, he's got that fresh, beautiful haircut. Look at that. Look at that face. That is a face only a mother could love. You got something going on, don't you?
She tried her best, honestly.
And do you have a functional microphone as well today?
I do.
Yeah.
We're moving, man.
So you're a Jets fan. Who's a better
Don't
football
remind
team
me.
right now, the Jets or the Giants?
I honestly think it is you guys, which is really sad to say because you have a little more spark than us. But because the Cowboys game, I think, was a fluke. Just Cowboys defense is horrible.
Was the Steelers? I mean, listen, you could argue, Steve. You could argue the Jets could be 2-1 right now.
No, yeah, they should be.
And they should have beaten the Steelers, and they could have beaten the Bucks. Not that they were better than the Bucks, because I didn't think they were, but they were not even close to as good as Tampa. They just got wildly fortunate, got in a position where they could win the game. But they could be 2-1. At a minimum, they should be 1-2. Both teams are sitting here 0-3. So there is some juice with the Jets. They just in
It's
typical
close.
Jets fashion,
It's not
they
far up. I mean, they're both at the bottom, but
yeah. Oh
it
no,
just-
it's terrible. The fact
Yeah,
that
no,
we're
no.
heading into week 4, we're still in September, and both local football teams are this level of bad. It's quite frankly, it's embarrassing.
I know the Yankees are the only thing that has my hope right now.
Right.
So.
And as a Mets fan, that's not a conversation I really want to have. All right. We'll bring you back later when we do a little Stump Rothenberg. Thank you, Steve. Love you. All right. Bye-bye. All right. So for Jackson Dart to succeed, what has to happen? So here's the thing is you watch Daniel Jones, and if you remember, and I think it was against Tampa Bay early on in that season, they went to Daniel Jones, and he played amazingly well. Like he's hitting Darius Slayton on bombs. They win that game in Tampa. There's this energy and this like reinvigoration of, oh my God, the Giants they found their guy. Things are good. Things are great, moving in the right direction. And then it kind of slowly fell off. But here I think is the big difference. You say, I only care about on the field. I don't care about the other stuff. Jackson Dart is an alpha. Jackson Dart is has an aura around him. He's a leader. And I don't know that Daniel Jones was that guy. Now, Daniel Jones is capable, and Daniel Jones is very sneaky athletic. Like he was a great high school basketball player. Actually played on Jay Billis's AAU team down in the Charlotte area. So he was a great basketball player. He was a great football player. He was a really good player at Duke. He can tuck it and run. He's a big kid, but he took a lot of punishment. And he's not in the locker room just a loud, boisterous, follow me, get behind me, and we're going to knock down this wall. Jackson Dart is. And I think that there's probably going to be a groundswell of like, I love this guy. Let's go. Not that it means it's going to work, but I this idea of a consistent comparison to Daniel Jones, I don't think they're the same guy. I know the mental makeup is not the same. And whether you want to say it was Dable, whether you want to say it was New York, like at the end, Daniel Jones was broken, right? He took way too much punishment. He tore the knee. He had the neck. He had the hamstring. He was often injured. He had moments where he was good, but for the most part, it didn't work out. But I think a lot of that was personality driven, and I think you're going to see a different kind of quarterback in Jackson Dart than you saw with Daniel Jones. And again, Daniel Jones, if you had a checklist of like big, yep, smart, yep, great arm, yep, athletic, yep, but there was something that was missing. And you say, well, he seems to have found it now in Indianapolis. Yes, he does seem to have found it now in Indianapolis. But I'd ask you this. Does Indianapolis have a really good offensive line? Uh-huh. Do they have really good receivers? Uh-huh. Do they have a great running back? Uh-huh. Do they play in a controlled environment? Yep. Do they have a really good head coach? I think so. So, like every single thing checks the box of what Daniel Jones is in Indianapolis, and he wasn't any of those things in New York. And another thing, remember, he tore his ACL last year, right? So now he's got the full year to come back from that. And 2 years ago, he tore the ACL, and then last year came back, and that was only 1 year after the ACL. Now he's 2 years, and the old adage, remember, Saquon was not great year one after either. Year two is when you usually see the best version, or kind of like reflecting back to what they were pre-injury. So I'm not one of these people. I know there's a lot of people out there that they can't handle that Daniel Jones is having success and it bothers them. Fine. If Saquon, the only reason I have any issue with Saquon Barkley is because he does it for the Eagles. If Saquon was on the Colts, I'd root for him. I don't have any anger towards Daniel Jones. And that's another thing. This idea, Joe Shane is going to be safe. John Mara went in Joe Shane's office and said to him, I'm going to be sick if Saquon goes to the Eagles and succeeds. So you went 3-14. You were the laughingstock at home. Saquon was unbelievable. You came out with the worst jerseys we've ever seen in game one last year against Minnesota. Saquon goes for 2,000 yards. They win the Super Bowl. He's unstoppable. Like, going to be sick. That'd be like IV hospitalization level of sick. That's the truth. So how Joe Shane, I'm not, going to the chopping block and saying anybody should specifically lose their job, but how anyone in their mind could think that Joe Shane is just safe is really beyond me. All right. So let's do fantasy waiver pickups, and then we'll do my locks review, which are not really locks. And then we'll do a quick edition of Stump Rothenberg. All right. So waiver adds. Luther Burden on the Bears. Now, was it a Dallas thing? I don't know, but is he worth having on your roster? I think so. So first 2 weeks, did nothing, wasn't really healthy. Week 3, he's in there. And only, I think I'd seen, only was involved in 28% of the plays and still gave you a long touchdown and over 100 yards of receiving. So if you have an open spot, Luther Burden is a good pickup. Trey Tucker's a star. Now, I don't know that he's a star player, but in fantasy purposes, he's been a star. He looks like he might be Geno Smith's #1 target. He's coming off a 3-touchdown performance last week. He's had a great start to the season. He's one of only 2 receivers to have 4 touchdowns on the year so far. Trey Benson. Now, most leagues, he's going to be on a roster already, but James Conner's now out for the year. So if he somehow is available and you use Fab free agent budget for your free agents, spend good money on him because he's going to get a lot of touches, and I think he's immensely talented. Mark Andrews was horrendous the first 2 weeks. Week 3, he was really good against Detroit on Monday night, but that's all been done with that Isaiah Likely, who is now healthier, and it sounds like is going to make his debut against Kansas City on Sunday. He's very athletic. They like him a lot. He's probably available in most of your leagues out there. I would certainly look into Isaiah Likely. And this one pains me to say, but when you start to think about streaming defenses, the Chargers defense is really good. And the Giants offense has not looked really good. So you add that up to if the Chargers defense is available, it's probably a defense that you would look to add to your fantasy roster this week. And, I'm a proponent of streaming your defense. Like, you don't have to draft the Niners and play the Niners every single week. You can go, well, Niners have a great matchup, go with them. Chargers are available. They have a great matchup, boot out the Niners and go with the Chargers. Chargers do have a really good matchup against the Giants this week. So that's your fantasy waiver pickups, and I feel pretty confident in all those guys, at least if you don't play them this week, to have them on your roster this week. All right. Bring up the locks. Yeah. That's the locks. So I stand by this now. And I know you say, Rothenberg, these is excuses, but I stand by it. We're 2-7, and we should be 5-4. According to my calculations, there are 3 games that were in the bag that we should have won and we didn't. There's nothing we can do about that now. There's the Broncos game, which was they won the game, and then they went back with no time left on the clock, overturned the field goal not being hit. They do it again. He hits it. That's a loss that we should have had as a win. The Rams might be the worst beat I've ever taken. So that's a loss that we should have had, a win that we should have had, but we took as a loss. That would bring us to 4. And then week 1, we took the Ravens against the Bills. They led by 15 points with 4 minutes to go. The analytics said it was 99.1% that the Ravens were going to win that game. They lost that game. So if you take those 3 losses and flip it, we're sitting here at 5-4, not 2-7. That being said, we're sitting here at 2-7. But I promise you this. This weekend, we're going to be better. This weekend, all of our luck, all of our fortune, it's all going to change. All right, Nico, Steve, who's running point on a quick little tidy edition of Stump Rothenberg this week? Is it you? Do you feel like maybe, Steve, you should get a monocle to run this?
I would like that, honestly.
Yeah. Would you, if I were to purchase you a monocle, would you wear it?
I'll wear it 100%. Yeah.
Only during the broadcast, or would you now live your life?
Stump.
Would you live your life as a monocled person?
I don't know. First, you want me to cut my hair at 100,000.
Tell me that you with a shaved head and a monocle wouldn't look like an evil genius. Tell me that.
I might be able to get cast in a movie, maybe.
I don't think there's a maybe about it. All right, what do you got? Give me. What do you got?
We got a comment here from David Carlson. Which MLB team has the longest current postseason series win drought?
So, team that hasn't won a postseason series in the longest. Well, I'm going to take a minute. It's not the Yankees. It's not the Red Sox. It's not the Guardians. It's not the Marlins haven't won. Mariners haven't won a postseason series. Blue Jays won a series recently. I don't know the answer to this. Tigers win a postseason series. I'm thinking Marlins, but are we including? You may not like the 2020 season when everybody got in. We're including that, right?
I assume so.
Okay, so then that would probably take the Marlins off the table. Nationals won a World Series. Cubs have won a World Series. The Reds. And the Reds have won a postseason series in a long time. All right, I'm gonna put the Reds on the side. Said they come. Pirates. Put the Pirates on the side too. Rockies have been to a World Series. Giants have won the World Series. You know what? I'm Pirates and Reds. The Mariners is not the answer. A's, I don't believe, is the answer. I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's wrong, huh? Is it the Reds? Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yep. 1995. Beat the
Oh.
Dodgers.
And you know what the thing is? Like, you just saw all of what Stump Rothenberg is meant to be. It's the question, it's the analysis, it's the thought process,
It's the
it's
stump.
the eliminations, it's the we start with 30 teams and now we have 5 and now we have 3 and now we have 2 and I go down to the 2 finalists and I get it wrong. That's a shame. All right, what else you got?
So I made my own stump.
This
Stump
is
you.
a home creation.
A Steve Stump, some
Okay.
would say.
This is
There's
going
a
to be
little ring to it.
NBA, so we know we're going NBA.
You know it's going to be Knicks, baby. Come on.
Right.
All right. So since 1947,
Okay.
the Knicks have had a former player reach the NBA Finals since 1947. Last year, it was Isaiah Hartenstein and Obi Toppin. Who were the players in 2024?
NBA Finals.
Yes, who reached the finals? There were 7 of them.
So 2024. So this is 25. So 24 is Celtics and Warriors. Is that accurate? No. Was it 2024? It's Celtics won the championship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they beat the Mavs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So Celtics and Mavericks. And repeat the question, please.
So it's former players. So
Right.
who used to play for the Knicks that made to the NBA Finals. It's been a thing since
And it's
1940.
more than one.
It's 7 of them.
7
year.
7 in 2024?
Yes.
And you're looking for all 7?
Yes, I am. I got to stump you, Dave. Come on now.
So Porzingis.
Yes.
I feel like what's the game show when they had like all the choices and you had to narrow it down and you'd go around and whoever got it wrong first was now eliminated. All right. Not Tatum, not Pritchard. I'm thinking it was Tim Hardaway in that series.
Yes, he was.
All right. And you don't want to break down.
I'll
and I
help
don't
you
want
out.
No.
So
I don't want you to yet.
Okay.
Let me think. Dennis Smith. No, I don't think Dennis Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith, but he was never in there. All right. 7, huh?
Mhm. You got 5 more.
Porzingis. I was going to ask you how does it break down, but let me think if I can get this. Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum. Who else played? Okay. Luke Cornett.
Boom. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are all the Celtics ones.
So we're done with. So the Celtics are only 2.
Yep. The rest are on Dallas.
So I got 4 more on Dallas.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You got 3 more. You got 3 more.
So there's 1 more on the Celtics.
No, there's none on the Celtics. There were 7 in total.
Oh, 7 in total. And I've gotten 3.
Yes.
Okay. So Mavs 2020. So is Dennis Smith? Is Dennis Smith a? That's what I'm thinking. Who else could Spencer Dinwiddie. Kyrie was never a Knick. All right, so this is what takes time now. Who was the big guy on the Mavericks? PJ Washington was never a Knick. Point guard. So Doncic was the point. I got Tim Hardaway, correct?
Mm-hmm.
You like this question, don't you? Because the problem with this question is it like makes me like have to go through everything, every
No.
team, and there's 7 answers, so you have to really like. All right, I know there's guys that are. Is Dennis Smith? So this is the team that went to the NBA Finals, right? Are any of these guys still on the Mavs? Or is that not information that you're willing to give me?
I don't believe so. Maybe one.
So these are not key players. This is the 23-24 Dallas Mavericks, right? The finals was. All right. Let's get to work here. Well, Seth Curry might have been on the team, but Seth Curry was never a member of the Knicks. All right. Dante Exum might have been on the team, but he was never a member of the Knicks. Was he? Dante Exum was a Knick? No. I got Hardaway. Are these guys that played at all? Probably not, right?
One, I think, barely played.
Derek Lively might have been on the team, but he was never a Knick. He was drafted by the Mavericks.
He was on the team, yeah, but not drafted by the Knicks.
PJ Washington was never a member of the Knicks.
Someone in the comments got one.
One of the yeah, he's probably looking it up. Now I feel embarrassed. Was one of the could they couldn't have played for the Knicks after. It has to be they had played for the Knicks before.
Yeah.
So it's not Markieff Morris, is it?
No. We had Marcus Morris.
Right. And they had Markieff, I think. And we had Marcus Morris for like 10 seconds.
The game would hit that game winner against Dallas.
Boy, I don't know. And there's 3 more?
3 more. They're all guards. And one was drafted by the Knicks.
One was drafted by the Knicks. Did he ever? And he played on the Knicks? He got time on the Knicks?
Oh, yeah. He was my man. Didn't work out well.
It's not Derek Jones. I don't know. I think I'm at a loss. I think we're going to need to do one of 2 things. We're going to need to either give me some help or you're going to have to give me the answer. So you decide what direction you want to go in here.
Well, I could give you. I don't know who could give you help.
Well, I mean, do you have any? What'd you say?
You want to phone a friend?
I don't have a friend to call. I'm
How
going
many
to need.
friends?
Who else? So drafted by the Knicks?
One was drafted.
It's not Dennis Smith because he.
No.
I think Daniel Gafford was on that team, but he's not. This would be the 23-24 Dallas Mavericks, right?
Yes.
So it's not Gafford. It's not Kyrie. It's not Lively.
The guy that got drafted for the Knicks got put into a horrible situation when we first made the playoffs in a long time.
I don't think I have the answer to this. I think I'm going to have to punt on this one. Is it like a G? I mean, is it a? I don't know. I don't know. Very sad.
Stump Dave.
Give me just like the initials, just to see if I can even have this.
The guy drafted FK.
Oh, it's not a K. It's an N. Frank Ntilikina.
Oh, Frank. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frank Ntilikina, Trey Burke,
Trey Burke from Michigan. Yep.
and then the other one was a starter on the next two. RNB,
RNP.
like RB. That's it.
RB.
Mhm.
RB. Oh, yeah, from North Carolina, Reggie Bullock.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
All
All
right.
right.
Close
Well,
though.
eh,
I honestly
don't feel
thought you
like- I
put
don't-
a good effort.
I don't feel like it was great. I feel like that was very underwhelming. All right. Well, congratulations to you. I hope you're happy. Now you ruined me. You happy? Now, like the whole
I
rest
am.
of the day is going to be ruined. I won't be able to sleep.
We have one more though.
Do I want it though, or do I want to embarrass myself any further?
I hope you don't. I hope you don't embarrass you on this.
Do you find that I'm embarrassed? Like, have I
No.
embarrassed you?
You haven't embarrassed. That's a hard question.
It's a good question, though.
That's a good
Up
question.
to a point. Like, whatever. That's fine. All right. So, what's your next?
So this is my question for today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you're asking yours?
I am asking my
What
question.
sport are you asking?
I am asking hockey,
I'm not going to know.
but it's something that
It's going to be like Islanders. Like, who did the Islanders draft in the third round of the 2011?
it is Islanders,
Oh,
but it's somewhere close to home for you.
Rick DiPietro.
Rick DiPietro question, and I will give partial credit and points for the answer.
All right.
Rick DiPietro started for the New York Islanders, long career technically. Can you give me what date he first appeared for the Islanders? I will give you points.
You're
for-
looking for the exact date?
I will give you points for the year, and I also want to know who was it against.
So it's funny that you would say that because we were discussing today on the show his debut in the NHL and how he was in the minor leagues and he got called up to an awful team. I think it's right before 9/11, so I'm going to say it was the 2000-2001 season. I know he was dating his future wife or his girlfriend at the time. I think it was a training camp with the Islanders. That 2001. I'm going to say, and I know he didn't start the season, so I'll say season starts October. I'm going to say February. You want the exact date?
You could give me the month. I'll take the month.
February of 2001.
You were off by 1 month.
All right.
So
You know what?
It is January of 2001, January 27, 2001.
All right. So I missed by 4 days then.
Yeah, you missed
You
by
know
4
what?
days.
I can live with that.
And if you can guess the other team, I will give you a full credit point.
What does that mean if I can guess the other team?
Who did the Islanders play?
Oh, I have no idea. Wouldn't be the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Close. It is
Right.
close to us right now. Where are we?
We're in New York.
Okay.
The Islanders played the Rangers.
Nope.
Devils. The Bruins.
No.
I have no idea. The Capitals. North. Montreal. Toronto. South. Florida. Tampa.
North, but south of Montreal.
South of Buffalo.
Buffalo Sabres.
See, I knew
It
it.
was a
I knew
2-1 loss against the Buffalo Sabres on January 27, 2001.
Do you remember that game?
I wasn't alive.
Oh, okay. Well, good for you. All right. So that's it. Do you have any questions or comments that you guys have that are spilling over to get to
No,
right now or nothing?
I think we're good.
We're good?
Yeah, we
That's
are
great.
good.
You guys are great. We'll be back on Friday. So here's my Friday. Listen to this. This is the dedication I have for you. I'm going to the Ryder Cup on Friday morning, and I'm leaving the Ryder Cup to get back here to do this. And I walked in today, and Nico says to me, "You're really leaving the Ryder Cup to come back here?" That's the dedication that I have, which means that at a minimum, you should like us and subscribe to us. Because if I have the dedication to leave the Ryder Cup and all the pomp and circumstance around that to come here, the least you could do is like us and subscribe to us. So we'll be back on Friday, September 26th, 1 o'clock Eastern. We'll do this all over again. The whole Jackson Dart analysis, the game coming up on Sunday. I promise you not to be too excited that things are going to change in Giants land, but here we are, week 4, and a new era is on the way. Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. You can check us out all over like you always do. Instagram, DR Giants Obsession. TikTok, DR Giants Obsession. Twitter, DRNYGO. And of course, we're on Spotify now, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. Until Friday, this has been, you can say it with me, Dave Rothenberg's Giants Obsession. So if you like that live stream, check out this video or these other live streams. And for the love of God, subscribe to us on YouTube. It'll be the best decision of your entire life.